Hello again. I am Richard Krawczyk, the Mr. Blueprint. You can find me at the Mr. Blueprint and almost every single social media site, including a website, themrblueprint.com. The reason why I had this next guest on is because she actually has done a lot of screen work in Hollywood, and she knows all about the whole celebrity things. And not just the celebrity thing, I've been watching her and following her, and I've known her for several years now. And the stuff that she does with content syndication is just amazing. Content syndication, as you know, is just getting your content out there for the masses to see on a variety of different platforms. And how she does it, I don't know, but we're going to find out. Welcome, Carly.
Hi, Richard. It's great to be with you again.
And also with you. God, I feel like I'm Catholic Church all of a sudden. My roots are starting to kick in here.
Yeah, that was definitely and so with you.
Yeah, I just didn't do the whole thing with the hands. So why don't you talk a little bit about your background in Hollywood, how you got started, and how you're able to literally syndicate all your content and get it really out there to the masses, pretty much like a celebrity.
Well, it's quite interesting. I actually moved to California from New York State in 2004, but I already dabbled in entertainment business, since I was really young. But when I moved to California in 2004, there was this reality show that was looking for a special person they were hiring, and I was their specialty fitness and spirituality expert for the show. And out of literally a lot of people, they chose me. And they actually took my entire bedroom from Venice, and they actually moved it onto location. And I lived on set in Hollywood, literally, for 30 days. And that's actually how I got started. However, my background going way before that, my father had always been in marketing, and my brother also was in marketing, and we've always been around restaurants and marketing, anything to do with marketing. And then when you dabble in that, you learn that there's a lot of key factors in marketing and how to put yourself out there and what words. And then, as you know, my background also ties in with NLP, neurolinguistics, and color, energy, and all these things, and unconscious associations. So I actually did a lot of marketing with associations with words. When people hear those words, what their reactions are, colors, what their reactions are. And I tie that into a multi-sensory, multimedia marketing, branding, social media world. And so I I've always had those two correlations of worlds, Western world and Eastern world, always paralleling.
And because of you, because of you, I never use black ink anymore on anything. It's always a really, really dark blue. And I never use the word but in any of my copy. So I actually do listen to you. So you get great information.
I love it. So I'm just going to tie two things that you just said because you brought them up. The reason why I don't use any black ink on any content anywhere, obviously there's sometimes you can't code it because it's might be a app that has the name of the app might have it in black ink. However, when most people see black, first of all, we see black every single day of our life, papers, magazines. And so we actually tune the information out because it's kind of like a muscle memory. We just see it and kind of absorb it. But also if you get into Eastern practices and other philosophies, black is dark, doomsday, it's negative, right? So I just don't do that. And I want to ask Richard a question. I love you, but what do you, when you hear the but, what are you anticipating after I say I love you, but?
Gee, it's like, yeah, I love you, but it's always bad after that. Whenever you say but, you always start it with the good stuff and you say but, which is a stop word. And then
exactly.
It's bad stuff after that.
Right. So when we say, and this is a neurolinguistic thing. So basically, whenever you use the word but, I encourage people to substitute with and, because that's when someone says but, their aura, their actual physical energy stops. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And if I say to Richard, I love you, and he's not going to jump and go, oh my God. He says, I love you. And the and is a softer way to go into something. And they're not anticipating anything necessarily negative. Now, mind you, to me, personally, feedback is just feedback. It is negative nor positive. It just is. And you have a choice to do with what you want. You can react or respond or change, or you find something that's an actual asset in there and you use the feedback. So just to tie that in, because he brought that up. So then go ahead, ask me any other questions you like, because I know we started with Hollywood and then you kind of brought up black ink, and we won't go into all the other inks.
Yeah, obviously different colors mean different things in different cultures, different parts of the world. So you have to be really careful about that. But as far as the content distribution in itself.
Absolutely. So, for example, Richard and I are doing a podcast and a video, if you will. And what most people don't get, we're multi-sensory beings. Some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic, some people are visual. So using a platform where you get to use voice along with visual is very important, because you can see the person's hands moving, you can see their nuances, you can see their body language. So people are actually going to be a lot more attracted. Now, the good news about doing video nowadays, it's very easy. Google Hangouts, there's a lot of other things. And what I do then is I have my editor pull the VO, the voice. And there now, what do I have? Now I have a podcast.
Yeah,
right?
What we call ripping the audio.
Ripping the audio, exactly, creating the voice. So, yeah. So so basically start creating multiple stacking layers, if you will. So, for example, I have a blog talk channel. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Vimeo channel. But I want to bring one thing about YouTube.
Sure.
I personally, this is from years and years of statistics now. Vimeo is the professional place to do like these type of interviews, any sort of really good talks and stuff like that. YouTube, honestly, is puppies, kittens, and music. You're not going to get the views on an interview like this that you would on there. So personally, I even turned off the numbers because I don't care. I can see the back end anyway. Right. And speaking of numbers, which I think is such an important thing, right now, Twitter is going to start removing the share count. In other words, this thing has been shared 100 times, because they're realizing more and more that people are so focused on the numbers they're gaining, and they want to take that away. So, for example, I turn the numbers off on my Vimeo channel too, because I don't care if people get stoked by me having 10,000 views a month or 100. I know I see the back end. So I want people to go to me because they want to listen, not because they want to know that I'm famous. I've done this, I've done that. No. So I really encourage people to start turning away from worrying about numbers, because Facebook algorithms are constantly changing. So when we have clients and the numbers go down, they freak out at us. We're like, chill out. Everyone's having issues getting traffic to their Facebook pages. Why? Facebook wants you to buy an ad, right? So I want people to stop getting away from metrics to a degree. In other words, don't get so freaked out about a number like a clout score, or that, your activity on your Facebook page went down a little bit, because it necessarily has nothing to do with you. In reality, a lot of times it's algorithms, it's other things. Worry about that you're putting out content that empowers, motivates, inspires, and educates. That's important, because people will come back when they're being educated and learning, and when they're being motivated.
Well, 2 points. Some people bring up numbers because it's the cool factor. Everybody wants to be around the cool kids. As an example, you go to a restaurant, you see a line out the door. What does that mean? It's a popular restaurant. Why? Because it probably has good food and good service. So people do look at the numbers. But one of the reasons, I actually wrote about this a few weeks ago when Twitter announced this about removing the numbers, in the Twitter shares and things like that, retweets, is that Twitter is actually trying to garner back their power. So they don't want to give data out to everybody anymore. They want to control the data. Why? Only be able to see, as far as retweets and numbers and all that kind of stuff, is if you get Twitter ads. And that's when because it's all about advertising dollars. They're trying to take back the power, because they're competing with the Facebooks and the Googles, and to a lesser extent, and LinkedIn to a lesser extent, things like that, Pinterest, as far as shares and things like that. So they want to sell ads. Twitter needs to make money. And it's all a part of bringing in all the bandwidth and just controlling just a little bit of it to the outside force for retweets, but without the shares as far as the numbers are concerned, because they want to sell more ads. That's really what I figured out is the bottom line of Twitter.
It is. And it's the same thing with Facebook, though. The algorithms are constantly changing. Why? They want you to use Facebook ads. And so I personally have instructed all of my clients, yes, I think it's important to have a Facebook page. However, please focus more with your personal page, because the people that know you, they come to your personal Facebook page. And here's a little clue. Anyone can see your Facebook page if you make it public.
Right.
People are like, I got a 5,000 cap. That means no one else can come to my page. That's a bunch of BS.
Followers. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, all you have to do is go to your settings and make sure that everything's public. You have the correct email on there. You have a correct bio. And that anyone. Now, here's the other key too. What does social media mean? It means a we conversation. Allow people to post to your wall. Now, you and I set the tone for our wall, so people aren't going to put obnoxious things on our wall because we set the tone. if you start putting heated debates, anything sexual, overtly sexual, religious, politics, and you get into rants on your wall, what's going to start happening on your wall? People are going to start posting that type of content. So you treat others the way you want to be treated, and you do with your Facebook wall, or I don't care what platform it is, post quality content. And therefore, having it a two-way street, people can post. Doesn't necessarily mean that they will. However, at least this way now, your page is a public forum, and you said it that everyone can see my page, and it's public. It's not just friends. There's all those settings. And you don't have to worry about solely focusing on your Facebook page.
Well, I have a slightly different philosophy on that. I believe that your profile is pretty much for your family and friends. They may not want to see your business messages. On top of that, on your personal profile page, they may not be your actual clients, or potential prospects. So why bombard your friends and your family with stuff that is like, I don't care about SEO or this or that. I want to see little baby pictures and dog videos and.
I totally agree, and there's a way to handle that. When you do set posts that a lot of people will have two profiles, by the way. One personal, that's just strictly personal. It's just family and friends, and they just create another profile for that.
Even though I think technically you're not allowed to do so under the terms and conditions, but people do it anyway.
Yes. I don't bombard my wall with, hey, buy this. I'm on this seminar. I'm on this, that's the thing about balance. I wouldn't want even my Facebook page to be buy this, I'm on this, watch this. I want it to be a balance. I'll do a pick quote. I'll do a word quote. I'll do a video. I'll do an MP3 or, a podcast. I'm always mixing up the content. I don't want the page just to be about me. I share from other people's pages. That's important.
You mean the world doesn't revolve around you?
Yeah, I imagine that.
So how exactly do you go about, for the newbie that's out there, taking your content and kind of like syndicating it, which is just expanding your content to other networks and things like that and having it shared? Okay,
so you were talking about my blueprint from a long time ago. Okay, so we talked about that a little bit.
I'm sorry.
I know. We talked about it a little bit. Let me get into a little further. So I scheduled an interview with Richard. I set up on Blog Talk. We're going on this time. Now I also have Spreaker, which is another podcast platform that also I'm tied into. I got awarded an iHeartRadio station. So I'm on I have iHeartRadio, I got Spreaker, I got Blogger, right? Not Blogger, Blog Talk Radio.
Right.
Okay. So now what happens? Like I said, we pulled the MP3, the voice, and we ripped that. And now we have a podcast that goes everywhere. But now there's all these great, right. Now there's all these great tools. The first thing I do, the very most valuable tool I teach my clients is create a blog post. In that blog post, you embed the video. You embed the audio. Now, this is a real key, though. Underneath those embeds, please make sure to also put the direct links, because sometimes embeds have glitches, and there's nothing worse than someone going to your page and not being able to watch your video or listen to your podcast. Right. So underneath my embeds, I always have, if there's an issue or a glitch, here's a direct link. Now, on our beautiful blog pages, on our websites, we have what? We have share buttons. And so I program it where, the minute you sign up your blog, I teach my clients how to add, there's a couple of wonderful apps or WordPress plugins. I use WordPress. And you can schedule it to go to wherever you want, your Facebook page, your Google, your LinkedIn, and all these other places. Another bonus I love to use is Scoop It, because Scoop It, you set up boards and that goes everywhere. So there's lots of platforms where you can syndicate your content. Also, some people use Quora. And actually, the other one that's really good is Stumble On, because that actually goes even more, because it goes more SEO, along as Google as well. And the latest syndication platform I have been working with is called the AHA Amplifier. And the AHA Amplifier is marvelous. We have all our clients create a 140 quotes, 140 characters because of Twitter. So a quote with their Twitter handle, right. And we put it into the AHA Amplifier, and we create a Kindle. It's kind of like a social enabled ebook, if you will. And then people can go in there. Everyone's looking for good content. And there's also the Gaggle amp, which, by the way, you can schedule. So, which is great. So those are my biggest things right now is Gaggle AMP and Aha AMP. And it's wonderful because people go in, they're looking for quality content. They share your content. And then now we've stumbled upon taking the Aha amplifier and now not only taking a social enabled ebook so people get their Amazon juice, we're now turning it into the PDF, the Kindle book on Amazon. Right. So it goes everywhere.
And that's just for one piece of content. That's how you syndicate everything out?
Pretty much. Well, if now the Aha books, generally we'll probably publish, like for a client, anywhere from 1 to 2 a month. Mm-hmm. But you got to remember, there's 140 quotes in there that's usable for content. But one blog post, yeah. So one show like we're doing now, I will then go create a blog post from this. I will then upload it to Spreaker, to YouTube, to my Blog Talk, and then it will go out to all those other places automatically. And then I schedule them out different times, so it's not all blasting out at the same time. Because YouTube, you can also upload VO, podcasts, and you can also upload video. So I tend to upload it everywhere, and then in different parts and times, I'm seeding it out here and there and mixing it up on different pages, and whether it be on Google or LinkedIn, and just send it all out.
Yeah, you can actually go to other services as well, like a Buffer app, Hootsuite, Social Oomph, Jukebox. I'm sorry. Yeah. And actually have that one tweet or that one post for a show or a blog post or whatever the case may be, and repeat it every 16 hours and 26 minutes or whatever it is, for a year. And so now you have a constant, because if somebody's going to see you on Twitter, they may not see your tweet because the half-life for a tweet is only 2.5 minutes. So if they're not on your feed in that 2.5 minutes, they're going to miss it. So this is a great way of scheduling it out so it kind of repeats.
Yeah, I love Hootsuite. I use Hootsuite actually our team uses it for our clients. I use it for specific projects. I'm not a fan of Buffer necessarily. And I've talked about automation.
Right.
You have to do automation ethically. If you're doing it just to game and bombarding people are literally going to turn you off and they're going to unfollow you. I do use Hootsuite. I don't overuse Hootsuite. I look at it this way. You can get people to send tweets out for you at a very economical cost. So there's some things I'll have a team doing and other things I will have scheduled. Buffer, what I don't like about is that, unless again, here it depends, dollars too. There's $12 for Scoop It if you do the professional plan. It's another whatever for Hootsuite. And so you look at clients and go, oh yeah, if you want to do Buffer and you want it to not have to load it up all the time, then you got to pay for that too. So you kind of got to pick and choose your tools, which ones you love, which ones you don't, and go for there. I also love Jukebox because they have a great one for quotes. And I know people love quotes. I tend to use that I have a special jukebox just for quotes. So you just got to remember, I don't even think you realize how much content you do have. And a lot of times we'll have people go to, who I'm talking about, by the way, is Mitchell Levy, who actually owns a high amplifier. He'll go to a conference for a client, and while he's there, he's taking notes. He'll go back and give it to his team, and they'll create 140 quotes in a book. And then what does that company have? They now have a marketing book for that conference they just did. And it can be done very, very quickly. We've done it for movies. We've done it for, authors. They still have their real book, on Amazon, but a little, excuse me, see now, and I'm human. I do say but occasionally. And we then will take that content and create a little marketing piece, 140 quotes about that book. So the quotes, I think, are really valuable because you can do so much with that. It's a very strategic plan in terms of pulling content and snippets. You got to remember, how fast does our society think? We're bombarded by this, right? Our phones, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. So those little tweets are great snippets of content for people to get an idea of who you are, what you stand for, what your passions are, what type of work you do.
Oh, speaking of tweets, thanks for tweeting us out, Eunice. Appreciate it. Giving you props there. Also, with there's there's a platform called Rebel Mouse.
Yes.
And where you could put a bunch of your tweets on there, so it's almost like an internet newspaper of all your tweets. So that's a great way of programming it automatically. So you have like once a month, you can just you can actually do a book a month of all your tweets. So, I mean, there's a lot of really cool things. And, Amazon is an authority website. So if you have a keyword with your ebook, is the name of the keyword, or the name of the book is your keyword, you can actually rank pretty high on Amazon from an SEO purpose based on a specific keyword using Kindle books and stuff like that. Well, you know that because, you and I talk like forever. I
know, but check this out. I'm so glad you brought that up. So one of the things I find really valuable is, let's say you have an author that's just a newbie and doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars to publish a book. That's the reason why I love the Aha Amplifier system, because like for $500, they can get the social enabled, right? They can get the PDF and get a Kindle on Amazon and start their author central page because, again, Amazon does have juice. And actually, I just did an experiment with a client I did an interview about 3 months ago. And he was doing kind of the same questions you were asking me. And I said to him, okay, I want you to Google yourself. He goes, I said, okay. He Googles himself. He goes, I go, how many lines are you on? And he was kind of appalled. And he's written many books, by the way. Right. And then I said, I want you to do the image search. And he did. And he goes, oh, my God, there I am. And every image that was there was me. Because when it's so important to label your images. So when I interview Richard or Richard interviews me, when I upload it to my blog or any of these things, right, I actually put the names. And so now this guy who had nothing, right, he had all these images, but they were me. And if it wasn't for me putting them in, he had no images of himself on Google. So then I said to him, I want you to go to video again. All my videos of him were up there because I've interviewed him about 5 times over the years. But
all right, why don't we stop you right there for a second?
Yes.
And actually go into how do you upload things with Google Images and things like that, because you're going at 2,000 miles a minute. And to slow down for the grandma or the grandpa, which is close to my age, can totally comprehend everything.
Go for it.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay.
Google Images and
okay.
how to get your stuff on Google Images and things like that.
Well, like Facebook, there's albums. On Google, when you post a post to Google, make sure you upload Google Plus. I'm sorry. Make sure you upload the image from your desktop. Make sure on your desktop those images are actually labeled. So the minute you upload the image to Google on Google Plus, it will.
In other words, the name of the file is whatever that is.
Exactly, it indexes. So, and then of course I had him do the same thing, Google me and video me and image me, and he was just like floored because there's pages, right? Because I make sure that everything is properly labeled. So if you're going to upload a picture of me and Richard, I'm going to label it Richard, and I'm not going to say her last name because I never say it correctly. And then my name, Carly, right? And then I'll actually put a dash, like maybe the title of the book, if it's a book that I'm talking about. And then when Richard, and I know if Richard Googles himself, he'll find pictures of us together on there because we've done, a ton of interviews as well. Actually, I think they index down low, but I actually still have seen some of us together. But yeah, it's important that we label things. I see so many people and they label their images, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dash, Facebook, FB. Or
right.
1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, G plus. You have to label things to get noticed by Google.
Well, there's a little hidden trick that I have besides Google Plus, and that is another Google product called Picasa. Yeah. And you can actually upload everything from your desktop into one big Picasa file, and not have to put it on Google Plus or anything else, and then boom, that goes right up into Google.
Yes, Picasa is wonderful.
But when I do something a little bit different with the images, I know I'm getting a little bit granular with this, but that's how I roll. You can actually take the image in Photoshop and actually work on the meta tags of that photo. Not just the file name, but the meta tags, whose also could be included. You can even include a sales message and even a link to a website. And it's all embedded in the image. So when you upload everything to Picasa, everything is like, boom, it just kind of explodes that way. That's what we do. That's one of the things that we do for our clients. Yes,
that's an amazing way to do that, and also does give you amazing SEO. And there's a couple really cool. I think one was called, I don't remember the name, but anyways, there's like literally active images, and there's like 5 dots in each image. Right. So on an image, you can, I think it was called Think-a-Link, or I don't know. I don't remember right now because I haven't used it in a while. But I did use it a lot for projects that they needed, like in one graphic, to have those, and they could click on any one of those dots and it would take them to exactly where you needed them to go.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It really is. I'll have to find you that. I have it. It's just, I have so many tools in my brain and I can't have them all at the tip of my tongue. But that one's a great one. I've used that a lot for projects.
That's awesome. We used to do the same thing years ago in, I can't remember, it was Photoshop or PageMaker or something like that, where you can actually have different parts of the image into a link or something like that. So that's a graphic designer thing. I'm not a graphic designer, nor do I play one on TV. So I pretty much know my limitations, and that's one of them. I just outsource that kind of stuff to my team. I'm good at what I do, and I'm very good at what I do, and there's a lot that I don't know, so I just find somebody who does, you know.
And that's so important what he said there. We all attempt to be everything to everyone. We need to stop it. It's like, do what you love, what you're passionate about, and what you're good at. And what you're not, we need 3 piles here. The do it pile, we're going to do. The delegate, we're going to give to a team, hence team. You have to know how to run a team. If you're just like dictating to a team, it's not going to work. And the 3rd pile is delete it. You have to know when to let go of things. Yeah. Even if it's your passion, and if something's no longer serving you or your company or a team, delete it. Get it off the list. Get it off the template. Get it off whatever. And there's 3 piles, right? You're going to do it, delegate it, or delete it.
Right. Well, you've given some great information. You've given an actual blueprint of the sites to use to syndicate your content out there. You've given some tools and things like that, some other things. So it's just your plethora of information, Carly.
Why, thank you. I appreciate it. As you are. I love having our conversations and brainstorming.
Yeah, well, you and I can talk on the phone like an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. It's like, oh my gosh, 2 hours just went by.
Yeah, very often. And then, And then I miss it when we don't.
Yeah, well, you only like when I call because of the theme music when I call. So.
Dun, 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 dun.
Old piano riff, yeah. So how can, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you to hire you to help them with their content syndication?
Like Richard, I am all over the internet, and you can find me with my name, Carly, C-A-R-L-Y, Alyssa, A-L-Y-S-S-A, and Thorne, T-H-O-R-N-E. And literally any platform, well, no, I'm going to take that back. Not every platform, because that would be in error of words, but it's mostly everywhere. And see, now you got me talking about the word what. I hate that. See, this is the one thing about teaching. If you don't say it in your normal language and then you bring it into a conversation, it's now in your consciousness. That's why it's so important to get it out of the consciousness. I think I said it 3 times in this interview. Just Google me and you can find me anywhere. My website's my name, Facebook, Twitter. I usually use Carly A. Thorne for some platforms because you can't use. The reason why, by the way, the story of why I have my name, is because there's another Carly Thorne actress. So we wanted the distinguishing, so we put my middle name in. And plus it spells cat, and I love cats, and I have all the, I guess, a lot of people say I'm like a cat, so.
Here, and Eunice just sent us a message that she is everywhere. I can vouch for that.
Thank you so much. I love hearing that. I love that someone can actually find me. That's so important.
It is. Okay. My name is Richard Krawczyk at the Mr. Blueprint. You can find me on all social media networks for that. Thank you for this interview, Carly, and we'll see everybody on the next interview. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.